$100. That's the whole story. Not a business, not a real estate deal, not some side hustle or crypto play or tip from someone on the internet. Just $100 sitting in your account every month, and a single question about what to do with it. The answer will quietly shape the next 28 years of your life. Most people don't think twice. The paycheck comes in, $100 stays in the bank. Then life gets busy. But there are two versions of you in this story. Same person, same job, same city, same $100. The only variable, what you did with it starting at age 22. One version put it in the bank. One version invested it. At some point in this story, about 6 years in, one version of you is going to watch their balance drop by nearly $4,000 in a matter of weeks. They will check the app repeatedly. They will read the headlines. They will have a conversation at lunch that makes them feel like they made the worst decision of their life. The other version won't even realize anything important is happening. We will get to that moment. But first, age 22, and a decision that looks completely identical from the outside. By the time you're 50 years old, those two decisions will have created a gap of $147,000. Neither version ever misses a month. Neither cheats. One simply makes a different first decision. This is what that gap looks like from the inside. You are 22 years old and you just got paid for the first time at a real job. Not a lot, but after rent, after groceries, after the minimum on your student loans, there is something left over. You decide not to waste it. It's not enough to change your life today, but it might be enough to change your future if you keep doing it. You decide to put away $100 every month, automatic, first of the month, no matter what. This is the moment the story splits. You open a savings account, the same bank you've had since you were 17. You set up a transfer, $100, first of every month, automatic. It feels like the adult thing to do. It feels safe. You don't expect it to make you rich. That's not the point. The point is knowing the money will still be there whenever you need it. You've read enough horror stories about people with nothing set aside. A car breaks down, a medical bill arrives, and suddenly they're borrowing money from people they don't want to owe. That is not going to be you. You hit confirm. The transfer is set. You close the app and make yourself dinner. You open a brokerage account. You've spent 2 weeks reading about index funds, the kind that just track the entire stock market. No stock picking, no guessing. You set up a recurring purchase, $100, first of every month, automatic. Your finger hovers over confirm. Your finger hesitates. The market goes down sometimes. You've seen the headlines. But you're not investing for next month. You're investing for decades. Time is on your side. You hit confirm. Nothing about your life changes that day. You still wake up tomorrow, go to work, and pay the same bills. The only difference is invisible, for now. You close the app and make yourself dinner. Both versions of you now follow the exact same routine. On the first day of every month, $100 leaves your account automatically. Most months, you don't even think about it. Life keeps moving. For 3 years, both versions of you kept the transfer running. $100 every month. It became part of your routine. Then, at 25, something happens to both of you. You lose your job. Not fired, laid off. The company restructured. Your department was eliminated. It's not personal, they say. Somehow, that makes it worse. You have 2 months of expenses saved. Maybe 3 if you're careful. You pause the savings transfer immediately. It doesn't feel like a failure. It feels like exactly why you built that account. The money is there. You can use it. You spend 4 months job searching. You dip into savings twice. Not the $100 transfer fund, but your general emergency fund. The savings account stays largely intact. By month 4, you have a new job. The transfer resumes. Your savings account sits at around $3,600, almost exactly what you put in. The interest paid you almost nothing during the hardest 4 months of your adult life so far. But the money was there, and that mattered. You pause the investment transfer too. Same instinct, same 4 months of job searching. But here's the thing about an investment account when you're 25 and newly unemployed: you do not want to touch it. Selling now means turning a long term investment into short term cash. You promised yourself you wouldn't do that unless you absolutely had to. You don't touch it. You find another way to get through the 4 months. When the new job starts, you turn the transfer back on. Your investment account: $4,178. $3,600 of that is your own money. $578 is what the market added while you were unemployed and stressed and eating pasta 4 nights a week. The market doesn't know you lost your job. It doesn't know you're scared. It just keeps moving. The market is down. Not a little, a lot. The kind of headlines that use words like historic and free fall and worst week since. Both of you see the same news. Both of you feel the same thing in your chest. You feel nothing. And then you feel something close to relief. Your money is in a savings account. Your money is fine. While everyone around you is watching their portfolios collapse, your $7,000 is sitting exactly where you left it: untouched, unaffected, safe. You pour your coffee. You go to work. You don't say anything to anyone about your savings account, but you think about it all day. You open your investment app. You watch the number load. Your account, which was approaching $10,000 last month, now shows $6,083. You have lost nearly $4,000 on paper in 1 month. You close the app. You open it again 2 minutes later. The number hasn't changed. You close it again. You go to make your coffee. Before the cup is full, you've checked the app 4 more times. The number hasn't changed. Somehow, it hurts more every time. You think about the 2 weeks you spent reading about index funds before opening the account. You remember your finger hovering over confirm. You wonder if that version of you was naive. At lunch, your coworker tells you he sold everything last week, got out before it got worse. He says this with the casual confidence of someone who has never been wrong in his own retelling. You nod. You feel something that is very close to regret. Your cousin texts, "Did you pull your money out yet?" You don't respond. That evening, you check the account again. It's down slightly more, $6,011 now. You have contributed $7,200 of your own money. The account is worth less than what you put in. You read it slowly. Every single crash recovered. Every single one. The people who sold locked in their losses and missed the rebound. The people who stayed and kept buying came out ahead. Not sometimes, every time. You close the browser. You don't sell. Not because the fear is gone. It isn't. But because you decide to trust the math more than the feeling. The next month, the first of the month arrives. $100 moves automatically into the account, into a market that is still falling. You watch it go. You don't stop it. You let the automation make the decision your emotions couldn't. 18 months later, the market recovers. And then it goes higher. 5 years after that frightening morning, the decision you made becomes impossible to ignore. By age 30, your investment account is $14,618. The crash is a footnote now, a scar that healed into something stronger than what was there before. The savers account at 30, $9,793. The gap between you is $4,825 and growing every month. You are 30 years old and you just got engaged. Congratulations! Now comes the most expensive period of your adult life, the wedding, the apartment upgrade. And then, because you've talked about it, because it feels like the right time, the conversation about buying a home. Both versions of you go through all of it. Same wedding costs, same down payment conversations, same late nights staring at mortgage calculators. The wedding is manageable. You and your partner kept it small. But the down payment conversation is harder. You have just under $10,000 in savings from your 100 a month account. It's not enough. You'll need to save differently, save more, save faster. The $100 transfer keeps running, but it doesn't feel like it's doing what you need it to do anymore. The savings account balance grows slowly while the world around you gets more expensive faster. You buy a home at 32. You raid the savings account almost completely for the down payment, plus everything else you'd saved separately. You rebuild from near zero. The transfer resumes. The wedding costs exactly the same, but this conversation goes differently. You have $14,000 in your investment account. You do not touch it. You've made that rule for yourself. This money is not a savings account. It's a compounding engine, and pulling from it now would be like stopping a machine mid-cycle. You save for the down payment separately. It takes longer. You buy your home at 33, a year later than the saver. But the investment account never stopped running. 1 year later, 13 more months of contributions, 13 more months of compounding. The account doesn't care about the wedding. It doesn't care about the mortgage. It just keeps growing. While you're busy living a life, it's quietly building your future. You have a child, and about a week after you bring them home, somewhere between the 3 a.m. feeding and the realization that daycare costs more than your first apartment, you sit down and look at every automatic transfer leaving your account and you ask yourself, which of these do I actually need? Both versions of you have this moment. Both versions of you consider stopping the $100 transfer, just temporarily, just until things settle down. You pause the transfer for 8 months. It makes sense. You needed the cash flow. You restarted when your partner went back to work. You don't beat yourself up about it. Your savings account at 35, $16,115. 13 years of monthly transfers, minus 8 months of pause, minus a partial withdrawal after the wedding, plus modest interest. It is a real number. It is yours. You worked for every dollar of it. But late one night, while the baby finally sleeps, you open a retirement calculator for the first time. You type in your current savings rate. You look at the projection for age 65. You close the laptop. For the first time, retirement doesn't feel far away. It feels underfunded. You consider pausing the transfer too. You sit with the app open, cursor on the cancel button, for a long time. You think about age 28, the crash, the headlines, the coworker who sold, the $6,083 that felt like ruin. You stayed then. The account came back. You remind yourself of this in the quiet of the 3 a.m. kitchen, and then you close the app without canceling. Not because you're disciplined beyond human limits, because you do one calculation first. If you stop for just 12 months right now, at this particular point in the compounding curve, you will lose more in long-term growth than the $1,200 you'd save in the short term. The math argues you back. You find other places to cut. The transfer stays. Your investment account at 35, $31,795. That number contains $15,600 that you put in, and $16,195 that you did not put in. For the first time in the story, the market has contributed more than you have. Your money is now earning more each year than you're contributing yourself. This is the moment compounding stops feeling like an idea and starts feeling like a force. Inflation does not feel dramatic from the inside. It feels like a slow drift, like the shore moving away from you while you're still swimming in the same spot. You are 40, 18 years since the decision. And for the first time, the two versions of your life are starting to look noticeably different from the outside. Your savings account has $22,597. This is the honest truth about that number. The interest rate on your savings account has never beaten inflation, not once in 18 years. Every dollar in that account has less real purchasing power than the day you deposited it. The balance went up. The value did not keep pace. You have been running in place while inflation quietly moved the finish line farther away. This is not a comfortable thing to sit with. You start reading about investing, seriously, for the first time, at 40. Your investment account, $60,056. $60,000 from $100 a month. The same amount that's been leaving your account since that apartment. The flickering kitchen light, the cheap coffee, the couch that didn't quite match the carpet. You are not rich. You still worry about the same things everyone worries about. The mortgage, the kids, the parents getting older. But underneath all of it is a foundation that is growing without your help, month by month, regardless of what's happening in your life. Based on historical market averages, not guarantees, not promises, just the math of the past 100 years, you are on track for something that the version of you at 22 could not have imagined. You put the groceries in the car. You drive home. It is a Tuesday. Life goes on. At 45, you decide it's time to meet with a financial advisor. You want to know whether the last 23 years have put you where you hope to be. You slide your account summary across the desk. $29,243. 23 years of discipline. $29,000 to show for it. That realization is harder than you expected. The advisor keeps their face professional. They've had this conversation many times. They ask about your other assets. They ask about your income. They start building a picture that can still work. It's not too late. It's never too late. But the plan they hand you at the end of the meeting involves catching up at a pace that will require real sacrifice for the next 20 years. You take the plan. You drive home in silence. You think about the $100 a month. You think about where it has been sitting for 23 years. You think about what it could have been doing instead. You open your investment app after parking outside the advisor's office. You sit in the car for a moment before going in. $106,555. 6 figures. From $100 a month. You sit with that number for a moment, not to celebrate, just to feel what it took. The month you almost stopped. The crash at 28. The new baby and the cursor hovering over cancel. The years when the balance barely moved and you contributed anyway. You think about that first night, the cheap apartment, the finger hovering over confirm, the breath you took before you hit the button. 23 years ago, $100. You walk into the advisor's office. The meeting is short, mostly because the numbers already tell the story. You are 50 years old. 28 years ago, you were 22, sitting in a different kind of apartment. The kind where the couch didn't quite match the carpet, and the kitchen light flickered sometimes, and the coffee was whatever was on sale. You were making a decision about $100. You've thought about that decision from time to time over the years. Not obsessively, just occasionally. The way you think about other choices that compounded quietly into the life you're living now. You pick up your phone. You open the app. $36,058. You have saved for 28 years. You have contributed $33,600 of your own money. The bank has added $2,458 in interest across nearly 3 decades. $87 a year. That is what the bank paid you to hold your money, while charging other people 15, 20, 25% to borrow it. The bank did not lose any sleep over the arrangement. You put the phone down. You look out the window. $36,000 is not nothing, but it is a number with very specific limits. You can see them from here. 28 years ago, you set up a transfer in a small apartment that smelled like cheap coffee and carpet cleaner. $100. First of the month. Automatic. You contributed through a job loss at 25. You contributed through a crash at 28. Through the headlines and the panic and the coworker who sold, and you stayed in. You contributed through a wedding and a mortgage and a newborn in a 3 a.m. kitchen with the cursor hovering over cancel. You never let a pause become an ending. $33,600. That's what you put in. Every dollar of it came from your paycheck. The app finishes loading. $183,059. You put in $33,600. The market added $149,459. Nearly $150,000 you never had to earn, never had to negotiate for, never had to work a single extra hour to produce. Money that grew because you put it in the right place and refused to take it out. You put the phone down. You look out the window. The sky has decided. It's blue. The saver wasn't wrong. They were careful. They wanted security, and they built it. They protected themselves from emergencies, and they did not lose sleep over market crashes. There is real dignity in that. The investor wasn't a genius. They didn't pick the right stocks. They didn't time anything. They didn't know more than anyone else. They just put $100 a month into an index fund, survived one crash without selling, survived a job loss without withdrawing, survived a newborn without canceling, and let 28 years do the rest. The difference between their lives at 50 is not intelligence. It is not income. It is not luck. It is one decision, made once, automated, and then never undone. $147,000. That is the price of choosing a savings account for a long-term goal. And somewhere, right now, a 22-year-old is sitting in an apartment that smells like cheap coffee and carpet cleaner, staring at a phone, about to make a transfer. The remarkable thing is, neither version knew how the story would end. They only knew what they would do on the first of every month. And for 28 years, that was enough.